Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 670, recorded live on Saturday, March 12th. We like, whoa, brains on autopilot, and it's going a little too fast. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have Voodoo Spice.
Do you want me to take over hosting duties for you today, Patrick?
I mean, have at it.
Well,
Actually, finding my
thanks for
voice is a
having me.
little sore.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, I've been working a lot this week, but in like places that are really loud. So trying to speak louder with a mask on and your voice gets a little sore. That's about where I'm at. Hey, this week's screenshot, Lele is taken with the Snow Peak slide in the 544th screenshot of the week. Thanks for sending that in. That's a fun one. One, people should take more screenshots with the Taken stuff. And two, Taken backside is not very pretty.
Any side of the Taken pretty? I think that's the point, that it's
That's
not. That
true.
it's hideous.
Except for what's his name? Yalfool? Is that right? I think that's right. He likes to take it for some reason. Hey, we like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. Next show will probably be next weekend, and you can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or website, DDOcast.com, with our calendar. Quick production note. At least my own experience, I assume this was kind of a global thing. I don't understand why iTunes was like, or at least iTunes was not distributing the podcast for like 2 weeks and then suddenly did again. So I don't know. I didn't change anything that I was doing. Just I realized at one point I was like, hey, I haven't seen that in my podcast feed for a couple weeks. What's up with that? And then the next day it was there again. So, yeah, technology is weird and fun. I'm sure you're familiar with the tech gremlins, right, Voodoo? When you're trying to stream.
Oh, yes. Everything's complicated when you're a man who knows nothing, trust me.
Yeah. Even when you do know something about it, it finds ways to surprise you. I have had technical things that like shouldn't be able to happen on a job site. It's like, wait, what? Like, any case, on the podcast this week, we're gonna review update 53. So it should be some funness there. I'm looking forward to it. Talking about it. Review shows are always just kind of fun for me. I like review shows. Well, hey, let's start with game news though. Kind of a slow week. The big thing this week was that there was issues with the new chat filter, which spills over to names and stuff. So if you missed this, they did some work on the chat filter, for which I guess also impacts names. And this was done for a variety of reasons. I think they just kind of update the chat filter regularly, which makes sense, right? We update the dictionary regularly. People come up with new words. Like, that makes sense to me. So this had a little bit of a halo effect thing that was happening because it was actually impacting people's names, which had this additional kind of weird thing happening that you couldn't like create a character with a name that was no longer valid, which apparently also included reincarnating that character, because you go through the character creation process. So that created some problems with a few folks saying, "Hey, I can't reincarnate into a Dragonborn." Well, actually, you can. You just can't reincarnate into anything with that name now. So Steelstar popped in at probably like half a dozen to a dozen posts, like, "Hey, what's your name? We'll get this figured out." That kind of a thing. Someone mentioned that there was during the fifth season of Hardcore. Some certain people, yes, some of which I know, had some, let's just say, creative naming choices. And that so Steelstar, Cordovan had mentioned that was an issue. Steelstar kind of said, yeah, that's a factor, and some of that will come the same time to update the filter, but they've been working on that update list for some time before even Hardcore Season 5 even started. So, yeah, there you go. If you have an issue with reincarnating a character, it may be the name. That's kind of the end result there. I guess get in touch with customer service. I don't know if that's send Steelstar a message on the forums. I mean, don't send them a ton of messages, but I don't actually know if there was a clear communication here of what the fix for that is. Because you could change your name, but that costs money. Wait, can you even change your character's name? I can't even remember now.
Yeah, you can name change.
Yeah, that's a thing in the store, I think. Sounds right. Anyways, there you go. That's the chat filter saga from the last week, apparently. So there you go. It's awkward. I have mixed feelings about the chat filter for names, just because I really enjoy people being creative with names, but also sometimes that's not appropriate. So there you go. Let's see. Bonus days. 5% Reaper XP through March 13th, tomorrow. And they're calling this a special bonus. They're giving VIPs an additional 15% VIP XP for a total of 25% through March 20th. Yay. That's fun. Store news. Available for a limited time. You can get Wishes of Inheritance in the DDO store through March 20th. I have it written down. Is the double bonus points done, or is that through this weekend? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I think it was I want to say it was through the 10th. But I'm saying that off the top of my head, so mileage may vary. Let's see. The store's sales. I believe this is a new one. Follow your passion. 20% off of select enhancement trees. Hey, that's cool. Like, not just like one select enhancement trees. Select cosmetic outfits, select cloaks, and select hair dyes through March 17th. Also, you can get 5 plus 3 lasting bark potions with the coupon code Tough Like Bark. Let's see if I can find the. No, the double bonus points in auto boxes was through the 6th. There we go. That's what it was. So, all right. That'll take us to community news. Like I said, there wasn't much game news this week. Community news. The 459th Chronicle. Aldbar has a solo walkthrough and guide for Hunter and Hunted. Kind of neat. This, it does strike me that more so than any raid that they've come out with recently, Hunter be Hunted is really soloable. Like, there's really nothing there that why you couldn't solo it, right? There's no real mechanics. I guess the soul mechanics, but if you can,
Yeah, that's the thing though. So I think like if you had super baller DPS,
right?
and you could power through it really quickly, but other than and I guess you probably would want to have really high sonic absorption. Is that what the kind of damage they do?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so those two things seems like they would be necessary to solo it. High DPS and high sonic absorption, and then it shouldn't be an issue, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that would kind of be the limiting factor, I think. 'Cause that's really the only thing there that's going to be kind of problematic with that would be those mechanics, right? Like the rest of it, the optionals. I mean, having more people would be more beneficial and easier, but it's not going to be. Nothing there is prohibitive in that regard. So,
And I don't even know, like, do the red lights come out, like, is it timed? Is it when the boss is at a certain health? Like, could you beat the boss down fast enough so that those guys don't even come out? I don't even know.
I think the answer to that is definitely yes. You can kill the boss, the bosses, before you get to those. It is trickier to do, especially if you're alone, right? I assume you would at least need time stop, or some sort of like amazing debuff. I want to say that I have had in my groups occasionally where we were able to get through like a normal run without having the souls pop, or they just barely popped or one pop. But I mean that was also like a 12-person party, so if you're doing enough DPS to get through that, power to you, right? Hi Arkat, how's it going?
Say sorry. I for some reason I thought it started at 2:30. I thought you would change the time slightly, but
No,
okay.
that's okay. We're not that. We just got to the Chronicles, so you didn't miss anything fun or interesting. So, Aldbar has a solo walkthrough, and or we did that. Saved by Grace is an Argonestan-based guild that is opening up their runs at 9:30 p.m. Eastern for community guild nights. Looking for people to run with sometimes or want to learn more, you can check out the forums there. The comment for the week: you are playing cards against an angry wizard and suddenly realize that you accidentally cheated. What do you do?
I fold. You win. Look at the time.
Time to leave.
I excuse myself to go to the bathroom and just never come back.
All right
Just
then.
gonna scry on you.
I mean, if it's accidental, one, is it cheating, or is it a mistake?
Well, I think that's the why the qualifier that he's angry. You know, it might have been an accident, but if he's an angry wizard, I don't think he's gonna care.
I mean, look, here's the my overarching answer is don't play cards with an angry wizard.
What if he became angry? What if at first he seemed like he was a nice wizard, but then he later became angry while you were playing cards?
Sure, okay, maybe that would work. Um, I mean, I don't know, like, so in Star Wars when they're like that little chessy type game they're playing, and I was like, let the Wookiee win, kind of a thing. Like, who plays that game with a Wookiee? Like, that's my question. Why take that risk?
That doesn't know Wookiees.
Sure, okay.
See, I've got an answer for everything.
Uh-huh.
Might not be a good answer, but it's a reasonable explanation.
Yeah. Uh anyways, we got a shout out for our post-mortem of update of Hardcore Season 5. And we also, let's see, Deal Players got shout out for their latest episode. These soldiers, Daleks, and dungeons. Talking about all sorts of fun stuff there. Let's see, Damsel Strike Back. This time Saba is running, or heads to the mines of Tethymar. A fun little area. Saba's been doing a quest a day. I mean, she doesn't actually do it like every day, but like they're posting a video every day. That's kind of the idea there. So that's been kind of fun to see. Let's see. On DDO stream, your first stop to find people playing DDO on Twitch. Let's see. This week, DDO PL conquers the world. Voodoo has coffee and chat, and Brock and friends rob a bank. How's your coffee and chat been going on DDO stream there, Voodoo?
Good. Yeah.
Great.
We're streaming teaching raids on the DDO stream now every Saturday.
Hey, there you go. Also on Twitch, Deathy TV runs High School Reaper. Ariana Elf explores Saltmarsh, and Glassjaws is Born to Be Wild.
Ooh, I want to give a shout out to Deathy, who just soloed Heroic Demon Queen at level 14 on R10 on his,
Whoa.
I think, Friday show. And he did it in like 3 minutes. There's a clip of it up.
That feels like
Sounds
way too
baller.
much work. Way too much work.
Props to Deathy for that one. I think that's a first.
Yeah. Over on YouTube, Axel Studio channel reviewed Hunter and Hunted. L. Jason L finds Doris, and Shrimp Tom shows you how to hit level cap in a day. I mean, play a long time. Like,
Well, he streams 12 hours a day, right? So that doesn't surprise me that he can do that.
I'm going to have to watch that because I don't even know how to get to 1 to 30 in a day. I don't think think if you asked me to devise a strategy to do it, I would be like Odo's box.
sure. I mean, like, because I've been keeping some data because I'm weird on like my past lives for a while now, including like how long it takes me to do each life. I started doing it to like test and see if this was working and if I to like figure out like optimize the path, so to speak. But like I can tell you that my an average, it usually takes me about 12 to 13 hours to go from 1 to 20, and I can go from 20 to 30 in 3 to 5 hours, depending on. That's a little bit more dependent on what I can get for a group, just because Slaters is really the determining factor there. How many people can I get in a Slater group to get counts faster? So like I know that I could do it in a day. I mean, I wouldn't sleep or do anything else for the day, but like I know I can get there. I think I saw his video time was like 13 hours. I don't know if it was 1 to 30 or 1 to 20. But still, I mean that's a good pace. So, yeah, I think it's still just like how much time are you willing to play DDO in a day? And sit in a chair and play DDO in a day and eat ramen. Yes, I can see Arkat shaking his head.
Yeah, I literally probably like maybe 3 hours is my limit. I prefer to do it and play for 2 hours, but I could stretch it to three. There's
Yeah.
no way in the world that I could do 13, 14, 15 hours in one stretch. There's no way.
Here's what I always wonder when I see people are like, yeah, I can get from 1 to 30 in 5 minutes. I'm like, how do you have any past lives left to get? Like, did you get all the past lives like 10 years ago then? I mean, what do you need, 500 completionists?
Fair question. It's a fair question. Let's see. They're celebrating 16 years of DDO, so you can check out gifts, freebies, events, and more. Let's see. The anniversary event runs through March 20th. I think that's right. So if you want to do that, make sure you get. You got about a week left to do that. Make sure you get your turn and stuff. The free outfits, I believe, are being distributed through the end of the year, like through midnight Eastern on December 30th. I think it was. That sounds right. I don't think it was the 31st because that would be a holiday time anyway.
And I want to have a talk with the person who designed those about what the color blue means. Just saying.
This is a bit of an aside.
Yeah, there were a couple of colors that were pretty far off.
Sure. This is a little bit of an aside, but I have had debates on Too Hot to Handle, the colored gems, about what color some of them are. Like, that's blue. No, it's purple. No, the other one's purple. No, that's clear. What? Oh,
Clear.
I don't know. And you know me, like, if I think I'm right, I won't let it go very easy. Like, that is blue. Although, if any of my coworkers from our paint department heard me saying that, they'd just laugh because it's like, hey, look, blue and blue and blue. Like, those are 4 different colors of blue. Like, yeah, they're all blue. So, anyways, that's the Chronicle for this week. Let's see. Other news, the community. Hey Voodoo, why don't you talk about what you got going on? Because you're doing teaching raids for at least a little while longer, right?
Oh yeah, we're not even halfway through the season yet. So we're doing teaching raids for new players. We're literally teaching new players how to raid on Sarlona every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I post details about each week's event in the Sarlona forum. We do a different raid or raids every week. And if you're new to raiding, you're new to DDO, or even if you're a long-time DDO player and you just never got into raiding, like, you're who we're reaching out to. The folks out there who think that you're not a raider, let us show you that you can be part of a successful raid group. Raiding in DDO, no big whoop, and we want to show you how to do it in a fun, relaxed, low-stress learning environment where we have fun learning how to raid together. And if you're not on Sarlona, you can't join us live. We've been live streaming it on DDO stream every week, and that's going to go through the winter and spring.
Yeah, so if watching it isn't on hands-on enough for you, watch Trimtom's video, learn how to level up to cap in a day.
There you go.
And then do that on Sarlona, and then you can run in the raiding groups, right?
Hell yeah. Some people transferred their hardcore season 5 tunes over to Sarlona just to join our teaching raids. That was really cool.
Hey, there you go. That'll certainly work. All right. DDOCast news. DDOCast Splat's probably very close to being on hiatus, if it's not already for the spring. And yeah, should have some more tabletop D&D coming. It should be a lot of fun. All right. Did get a little bit of lightning post. This will kind of dovetail into our review in a little bit here. But we did, Epic and I last week briefly talked about what our thoughts on Update 53 were. So we'll share the ones we did get in here before we start talking about it. Conan Ad said, one of the quests has so many pearls, just got them really mad. Was getting slow loading screens, couldn't keep up with the party to the point that now they felt very strongly that once you load into a quest, there should never be another loading screen. Yeah. Before this quest, I didn't feel that strongly about it, but after the quest, they felt like the dislike of Portal so much more than they did before.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I mean, there's no reason at this point to be adding more loading screens than that one. You do zone a lot.
Yeah. Then we got a message from Rachel. Enjoying the new content overall. Sadly, saw almost no named loot from the 2 quests, even on Reaper and with a full party, but managed to get them out from the raid after 8 tries. Yay! Congratulations. The raid can be short and sweet with a knowledgeable group, but it seems to require an extremely high level of build and power, even on normal, to accomplish. They prefer raids that are challenging rather than painful. They are pure arcane archer, and it might as well be tissue paper in that raid. Yeah, mileage can vary on that for sure. We'll talk about that in the when we review it, I think. But so that's what we got for some lightning posts there. All right, we're gonna review Update 53. So you get to hear our in-depth thoughts from the 3 of us, and we tend to go in-depth, so this should be a lot of fun. So we'll start with the quests, and I think we can all agree there's only 2, and that's lame, and we want more. I'm assuming that's where both of you are.
Yeah, I definitely want more. I mean, where's SSG was doing such a good job of doing like 4 and 5 quests every update. I want to go back to that. And then we had 1 last update, 2 this update plus a raid. I mean, the raid's cool, but I like those 4 and 5 quest updates. I know they're working on expansions, but I've said before, I love all these expansions, but if it's going to be at the expense of the quest packs in between, then it makes me a little less crazy about all the expansions.
Yeah, the more they do this, the less value that there is for for people who don't buy the expansions. I mean, there really seems like they're funneling. They're really urging people to buy the expansions because it seems to me that those are the the highest cost the highest cost content are these expansions, and the expansion seems to be coming a little too fast and furious. And and like Voodoo said, it seems to be at the expense of the shorter the 4 and 5 quest pack. I would prefer to see the 4 and 5 quest pack very often and the expansion less often.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like we're buying a new. Like if you're buying the ultimate pack, it's like buying 2 new games every year, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and I think that's okay once in a while, but man, like every year is probably a little excessive in that regard, especially if you're not getting a lot of other free content.
Yeah, I mean, it may be. I don't know if they're transitioning to a new business model where it's like one big expansion every year and just like a little stuff in between. You know, which I mean, if that's what they want to do, or are we light on the last couple of updates because they've been so busy working on other stuff like trying to fix the lag and trying to come up with epic and legendary versions for the 5 million Sands of Nectar loot. I mean, that was a lot of work, and I want to want to give them props for that. They updated a whole bunch of old loot, and they didn't have to do that, but that took a lot of time, and that was really awesome. I never thought we'd see like updated Sands of Nectar loot and stuff like that. It was really cool.
And Epic Destinies was a big systems overhaul thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still getting more and more concerned about if all we're getting is small content pieces and most of the content in the year is behind a paywall for an expansion. I mean, content keeps players around, right? And if you're paywalling all of that content, I feel like you're going to lose players. So
Yeah, and while players are going to come back for a big expansion, are these little update 52 and 3s that just include like 1 or 2 quests, like that's not going to like bring a lot of people back and keep them around for very long, as opposed to there's 4 or 5 quests, there's a lot of loot to farm out, might bring more people back and keep them around for a little bit longer. But I feel like people are going to look at 1 quest, 2 quests, I'll just wait until Isle of Dread or something.
I mean, there is a raid, but even like, which is good. I think
Yes.
raids drives a certain type of player that is more likely to move on from lack of content and lack of challenge. But at the same time, this raid feels pretty simple. I mean, it doesn't feel like they had to spend that much time making it. I could be wrong about that, but it's not as simple as like Vision of Destruction, but it's pretty simple. It doesn't have a lot of crazy things going on. So.
I'm okay with a quickie raid. It kind of reminds me of Mark of Death, where you're like in a little room, they're throwing everything at you. You got a couple side rooms. Once you get good at it, you're gonna knock this thing out in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. We'll go through the quests kind of individually because there's only 2 of them, and then we'll talk about the raid. So through the Tulgi Wood, this is the teleporty one. Yeah. Thoughts on that?
Way too teleporting. I mean, it helps that that you can see on the mini map where the which lever opens up which portal or which side a passage, I guess. But yeah, it just I mean it the first time I tried it, it took forever for me to get through it, and but as I've done it more than maybe 2 or 3 times after that, it has gotten better, but still it's and I think I feel like that teleporty thing is a gimmick, and it just got too gimmicky.
I mean, I like the whole Alice in Wonderland thing that was going on. Clearly, they were going for that kind of feel. Um, it was definitely confusing at first once you realize that the open doors are labeled on the map, and this is clutch. So I want to emphasize this. If you didn't know, like, see, so it's a really sprawling quest. You pull a lever, and you have no idea what it does. But they open doors, but you pull a lever on this end of the map, and it opens a door like 6 miles away, and you're like, what does this lever do? But the map is labeled, so you got to open your map and look for the dot that says like open door here, and then you got to go there, and then you go there and you pull another lever, and that opens up a door 5 miles on the other side of the map. So you got to open your map, look for the dot, go over there. And it just seemed like there was I don't know, not a lot of value in that, like especially when like practically all those levers, there's a door right next to it. Instead of this lever controlling the door at the other end of the map, why didn't it just open the door that's right here? It seemed a little bit superfluous.
Yeah, the opening the map, like the map note is good, but opening the map a bunch of times is less good and not so much fun. So I am someone who kind of enjoys like Inferno of the Damned and Through a Mirror Darkly, but the issue I have with this map is it's it's nonsensical, like how the map is laid out, right? Like Inferno of the Damned and Mirror Darkly, there's it's a circle with two sides, right? That's all that's going on there. It's not that complicated. But this one, it's like they're so disjointed. There's not a relationship to where the portals go to. It makes it even harder to hold into your mind. And I feel for the people who are map challenged, right? Like that don't have a very good sense of direction and being able to put a map together in their head and know where they are and where they have to go. I know there's people that joke about there's people who joke about getting lost in Devil Assault, right? Like that person has no hope in this quest whatsoever. Troggy Trog is saying in our chat that apparently having a lot of problem with invisible ceilings and skyboxes. I did not notice that myself, but I have noticed where that is an issue, and that boy is that annoying, right? Like you're trying to, I find that more in like the claustrophobic mazy jungle, like viney sections. I'm looking at the what's the name of it? The end one in the Age of Rage quest that has that little maze. You got to find the mushrooms in. That's where I run into that a lot more. But yeah, that's always kind of aggravating for sure.
I definitely know what Troggy Trog's talking about in the new quest. There were definitely a lot of points as we were exploring around, or some points where, I ran into that invisible ceiling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in the second quest, I've noticed it quite a bit.
Okay. Interesting. Let's look out for that more. Um. Any other thoughts about Tulgywood?
It was a nice looking quest,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, I just kind of felt a little bit middle of the road about it.
Yeah, I think they may have relied on the Alice in Wonderland thing, especially where you have the tea party with the Mad Hatter, but obviously it's not the Mad Hatter, and they're different guests, but it's definitely that vibe, and it's done that way deliberately. I mean, that was kind of neat, but okay.
I did kind of enjoy those little interaction moments. The tea party, the two frogs arguing about watching each other watch the door.
That was a funny moment.
Yeah. So there was like the little funny moments in that, but I just got so lost in the, okay, where do I have to go? Where do I have to go next? How do I get there? Right. Uh, yeah. That felt a little. It just felt a little too onerous. I had to think too much. That was the problem. Let's talk about one Dame thing after another. What was you guys' sense on that quest?
I appreciated that quest more because it was shorter and more direct and to the point, and um, you know, it, it was overall just more enjoyable than the long one.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty straightforward quest, and I kind of liked the little unicorn interaction and that little pond there, and I didn't even notice all the stepping stones at first and how to get over there. I thought that was cool, and I noticed that I think they coded some new fish too in that pond. So there's like some big, pretty good sized fish swimming around there too. Those were nice looking, and I like the little gorge part of it. But again, I just at the end of the day, I feel kind of middle of the road about it. Just wasn't as much of a standout quest.
Felt like aside from the aesthetic looks of it, like the Feywild lookiness uh, of it, it was very generic. Maybe it was just because like I was going through it kind of fast, and maybe there was some dialogue bits and moments that I missed. Uh, but yeah, not. There was nothing that really stood out to me. Like, hey, this is a really great and fun quest. Like, all right, it's a quest. So that middle of the road feels very apt. At least it didn't have a mechanic that was annoying though.
And the loot from those quests are really not very notable either. So that certainly doesn't help.
Yeah. Don't let me forget. I think I forgot to write down loot, but don't let me forget to talk about loot later. All right. Let's talk about the raid, which we've touched on a little bit. What are oh, what are your thoughts on the raid? Who
It's a
wants to go
quickie.
first? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quickie, and I don't mind that once in a while. Like I said earlier, it does remind me a bit of just sort of abstractly like Mark of Death because you're in a little area. They throw everything at you. You got a couple little side rooms that you can do, and if you skip the optionals, like you could do this raid, I think easily under 5 minutes with the optionals, easily under 10. It's got some mechanics that took a little bit, to learn, to figure out. Um, it's not a particular standout raid. Like is okay. It's just kind of how I feel about the whole update. It's just like, it's not a real standout update. It was okay. I would like the Phantom Steed. I'm glad that was put in there. I don't know why you can't buy the unicorns and the steed with raid runes, but that would be nice if
Yeah.
they added that.
And also the sentient gem from Strahd, and
Yeah, that would be nice. The problem I had with the raid, I mean, it's nice and short, as as Voodoo said and you've said, and that's cool and everything. Like VOD, I like short raids like VOD. But the mechanic of the souls, that's okay. When you have like four, when you have four souls. But as you get closer to killing the Hunt Master, you can get up to like 8 souls, and I mean, there's definitely a possibility where you may not have 8 people still left alive, and it really, especially if you're going to do it on higher difficulties, it might really be frustrating to certain raid groups because you can't even complete the damn thing unless everybody has like a gibberish blade or something, or you have the cleric that can raise everybody, and one fell swoop. It really is towards the end of fighting the Hunt Master. It really is a DPS check, and you know, it, and just like too hot to handle. That's a pure, almost a pure DPS check too. I'm just getting tired of DPS check, raids, honestly.
yeah, I agree with you. Too hot to handle is like one and a half steps removed about it not being a DPS check and being able to be something that you can control. but like the souls are not feel like a little farther away from that. I think that so Epic and I talked about this a little bit last week, and I think the way that he phrased it was really good. The damage is just overtuned, right? On normal, I feel like I need a party of average players to be able to generally survive like 2 souls being uncovered. And the way it's tuned right now, even on normal, it feels like 1 soul kills half the party, if not more, right? And you get into hard, and 2 souls kills everybody.
Yep.
And I just don't like that as a balance. I have never been a big fan of once you lose control of it, you're toast and there's no coming back from it. I like a lot being able in a raid, like, okay, we're in trouble. Hold it together for a minute, get people back up, and we can reset and get going. You can't do that in this raid. In that side, it's not going to happen. If you're down to 4 people, the souls will kill you flat out. It's just not going to work. Like, that's too. You don't have enough bodies to put in the places you need to not wipe who's ever left. And I don't like that at all.
It does seem to be difficult, if not impossible, to recover from. We tried to do it on Monday and couldn't recover from a wipe.
Right. And Bertle in our chat right now is saying he misses raids like Tower of Despair, which was a great raid. And also some of my favorite moments of that raid, pretty much all my favorite moments of that raid, really come down to, oh crap, we're in trouble. And you got one guy kiting everything in part 2 to hold it together and get everyone back up, right? Like that save moment. Or in part 3, I've had the same thing a couple times where it was barely hanging on, and then you got the victory. And those feel really good when you're raiding. And you can't do that in this raid. It's not going to happen. If you don't have enough people to cover all of the souls, you're hosed. Like, there's a lot of trash going on. I think maybe a little too much in general in the kind of main roomy fight. I don't think that. I think this to say that there's too much trash. I think that it respawns too fast. Like they need to. It's hard. Like it's hard to find this right balance. But having a balance where dealing with the trash is not prohibitive to completion. Like you should have to deal with the trash in a way that it gets off the board for a little bit. That's great. But it feels to me like some of this trash, especially the dogs at least, like they come back so fast that what's the point? Especially when you're also putting on this burden of this DPS check, because I don't know what it is, but every minute we have to cover 4 to 8 souls. So if you're not really unloading on the boss, you're just having to deal with that more, and you're just waiting for that moment where you can't cover the souls and you wipe. Like that's what the design of this raid feels like. That's the challenge of this raid, and that doesn't sound fun to me in any way, shape, or form.
Well, not to mention there's also the damn circles that, if you're standing on one of the souls and you get a circle there, but you
Right.
have to stay there.
Yeah.
I mean, and then if the circles kill you before the souls are done, then, then that's another way it's, the soul thing mechanic screws you over.
Yeah. And I don't know, like there needs to be. I almost kind of wonder if what it really needs is, I mean, 1, I think the souls are doing too much damage on lower difficulties. But 2, if killing trash reduces the number of souls or something, right? Like that could be a possibility, or some way to, I don't know. The soul.
If there was some way to keep the number of souls to like 4 and
Right.
not, if you screw it up, then maybe 8 will show up. But if you just can find a way to keep it at 4 souls, I mean, that would be a nice little, reward there. I mean, you still might get circles, and whatnot where the souls are, but at least it's at least somebody, a party that's half dead could still possibly complete it.
Another thing they could do with that is kind of maybe do one at a time. Like the first time it's 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 4, and then it becomes this like pseudo timer effect. Like you're gonna have to, get this done before you get too many souls. Otherwise, you're not gonna have it done. And
You're still kind of getting towards DPS check.
well, right,
Like-
but then it became, that's really forgiving on lower difficulties, and people who want that higher difficulty will have that challenge of dealing with that. That it is, so like I said, it just becomes a quasi timer mechanic when you do it like that.
I'm okay with it getting harder to maintain control as it goes along, but what I think is good raid design is a well-organized party, but maybe low on DPS. Like, you can hold on to control for 30 minutes. Or really indefinitely, right? Like, if you do what you're supposed to be doing, you could theoretically maintain control indefinitely. Maybe not easily, but be able to hold that control. And this raid doesn't feel like that at all. And Too Hot to Handle barely feels like that. And really, that's almost kind of a red herring, or at least when it came out. That was kind of a bit of a red herring, and that you could always maintain control just because of how fast some of the stuff spawns. And that's kind of where it loses me. Like, here's an example, like the end fight of Temple of Deathworm, right? You could stay in that end fight for 4 hours. I've done it. It was a lousy day. But we hung on to that for a long ass time. Because we were pushing the difficulty beyond what was conventionally thought of as doable, and we were in there for forever, and we never lost control, right? We ended up bagging it because somehow we managed to get Corkaza. No, wait, not Corkaza. Whatever, Seriana with
Glorasa.
Yeah, that one. There we go. We got the dragon like somehow stuck behind a wall and couldn't get her out.
Oh,
Hit
damn.
her. Yeah, right. Like, but like that's what I like in a raid design. Is I can hold on to this. Maybe it's gonna be slow, but I can hold on to it, and we can keep it going, and we can save it. Right. We can come back from the brink when half the party's dead, and this raid isn't that at all. I think I said last week that this is my least favorite raid since RSO, at least. And it's not really even a question for me on that.
Yeah, I like RSO.
I have some mechanics complaints about RSO as well, but
yeah, I just feel middle of the road about the raid. I mean, Baba is my least favorite raid. I'd rather do this raid all day long than Baba, personally.
I'm getting sick and tired of Baba myself, honestly.
Or
Baba
DOJ.
is-
I'd rather run the new raid than Baba or DOJ any day.
Baba is boring. This one can be frustrating. Like that mechanic of how the end fight works and stuff. And it's talking about RSO, like I have some similar complaints about the end fight there, and like the getting out of the electric storm part and going underneath and having to deal with the skeletons. Like, I want that to be a mechanic, but the respawn rate of the skeletons makes that prohibitive. Like, I tried it a couple times, and it ruined the raid. Like, we couldn't do that and the upper part at the same time, right? Like, so SSG just has not consistently been very good about here's respawning trash and have to deal with it, but have it be dealable and not derail the entire raid at the same time. I can't think of very many raids, if any, where that's actually true.
When it comes to the new raid, if it does go wrong, it's like, I mean, what did you waste 5-10 minutes?
I mean, that's the good part about it, right? It's short.
Yeah. Super short.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good part about it. And at least, like, when you think about, like, Mark of Death and this and Too Hot to Handle, which are kind of some of the more chaotic raids in that regard, they're fairly short. So. Anything else? Oh, we didn't talk about the maze mechanics. How do you guys feel about the maze optional?
Well,
the Pixie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, a viewer said yesterday something that I found very helpful, so I wanted to pass it along. That when you're doing the maze, so what the deal is there's a pixie in there that you're looking for in a hedge maze, a red name pixie, and while you're moving around, you're getting a progressively stacking cold dot. So make sure you have like red fire shield or some kind of cold absorption, guys. Also, so any kind of like bard songs that have healing over time, or the exalted angel mantle that has the healing aura, that's going to be really helpful in there. But the tip that a viewer gave last night, which I thought was great, was that when you get to the pixie, don't just try to beat her down instantly. Like, actually DPS her slowly, because while somebody is DPSing or near the pixie, she stops throwing the dots, and then you can let the dots time out on everybody else. So DPS the pixie slowly, let the dots time out, then finish her off until she ports again and go find her again. I thought that was a great tip.
We did find today, Arkat and I ran the raid not too long ago, that it works, but it mileage may vary depending how far away you are from the pixie. Like, there's more experimentation needed, but some people got their dots cleared and some people didn't doing that. So we're not sure if that's like, if you're too far away, maybe it'll still hit you. Not really sure there.
Okay.
But definitely, yeah, like, let her be aggroed on someone close to her to not have her stack that dot. Is definitely seems to be working. So I kind of find that maze still to be a little claustrophobic. Like, the walls are a little too tight, and a little too. It makes it a little hard to see some of the turns. The map is almost no help. I'm not sure how much of a help it should be, but it's so small and constricting. And if you're turning your mouse around and your view around too fast, like, it gets really disorienting really fast.
I think the dev who designed that would probably be like, great, that's what I was going for.
That's probably true.
It's a hedge maze.
Yeah, I could still use this to be a little bit wider. Just I think would help a lot there. But now that we, like, since Epic mentioned that last week on the cast, I have had a better experience in that maze for sure. But that's an example of a good timing mechanic, I think. The other fights seem to be somewhat generic-ish to me. I mean, you can get the souls earlier in the fights, but
yeah. I mean, the fight in the trap room.
Yeah, I mean, there doesn't feel like there's a whole lot going on there. I mean, disable the traps. I like that there's a trap mechanic, right? Like, if you have someone who can do traps, it's less painful. That's great. Other than that, like, just beat him down, right? Like, there's not really a lot going on there. And the first two bosses, yeah, I mean, I like the multiple bosses. I like that there's, like, they're all kind of doing something different. That's great. Tuning needs work. Are we ready to talk about the loot from update 53?
Sure.
You seem so
This should be
excited.
short.
Go ahead.
There's a few nice things, like, some of the the new augments are nice. Add an extra die to your Eldritch Knight. His spell sword. I mean, that's pretty nice. And there's a couple of others that add dice to, like the Alchemist. And there's also another one for, oh, I forget what the other one's for. But they really needed to add another one for the arcane archers. They needed to add an arcane archer augment to help their dice. But those are nice, and the mount is pretty cool. So that's also okay. And I actually do like the pair of commas, but everything else I'm not impressed by. I mean, I'm just big deal.
The a lot of the raid weapons seem to have like melee thing, insightful spell power, quality spell power.
Yeah, I didn't get
I'm
the
not crazy about
why half the abilities had to be spell power or lore or something. It was just really schizophrenic loot, frankly.
Yeah, I think they do that too often, in my opinion, where it's like, I mean, I play casters, healers, tanks, so I'm a lot of times looking at the caster gear, and I'm just really tired of like there being like 2 good caster stats on an item, and then plus fire resistance. Like I don't need that. Can I get insightful spell power? Or, something, that is more in tune with like these other abilities that are already here instead of like this other fourth ability that one of these things is not like the other.
Like just an example, like so the Hunter's Hand Axe, Sovereign Vorpal, Sonic Blast, Fetters of Unreality, which gives stacks of vulnerability, Insightful Resonance, Quality Resonance. Who is this for? Like the only,
Some sort of battle bard, really.
I mean, yeah,
Or
right. Like
possibly a warlock, a Fate Pack warlock, maybe.
you just don't see a lot of people that are swinging weapons at monsters that are benefiting much from spell power.
Right,
That's
right.
the issue. And I think a little bit of that is okay, but like that's like a lot of the items in here, or a lot of the weapons, anyways, right? Like it's definitely a theme there in terms of weapons. So I'm not sure what we're going for there. Now, some of the other stuff is pretty nice. I like a lot of that other stuff they have going on that works pretty well for me. That's more cohesive and makes a little bit more sense. Primero's Memento is a nice ring that has a nice augment option to turn it into with soul vessels. That's great. So a lot of the not weapons seem to be more cohesive. It's just those split ones are just like not enticing me that much.
I love that they added another Soulforge augment. I really want to see
Mm-hmm.
them continue using that system and grabbing maybe some more of the older raid loot and make that Soulforgeable into an augment. I love it. So just wanted to give a special mention to that augment you just mentioned, that Pimento's ring or whatever it's called can be turned into a really nice caster augment.
Yeah. And there's some other nice, like I said, some of the items are actually seem more useful than you think. It's just I think those weapons just like really pop out. Like whoa, like that. I like that. There's a stable stone. It's a trinket that has intercession ward on it. It's nice to see a higher level item that has intercession ward on it. I don't feel like we see that too often. That has some other nice stuff on it. I like that one. So there's some decent stuff here. I think it's suffering a little bit from the same problem I've had with loot for a while. Is we've been at 30 too long. So we have too much gear that's level 29, level 30. So it's competing with stuff that already exists. That's basically like, unless you can find a slightly different combination of things, Unless, I mean, if you're interested in playing the Gear Tetris to find that +3 bonus to something that you didn't have before in exchange for something you didn't want that you had to begin with, cool. But I mean, we've got what? Ravenloft, Sharn, Feywild, Saltmarsh, um, all of those gear suites, which are pretty robust gear suites in and of themselves, um, all competing with this loot. Plus, now we've got like 8 packs of Scroll Steel Shards at level 30, and like there's just so much loot at this level, and I'm finding it hard to get really excited about new loot because like what are they going to introduce that I haven't seen? I don't have an option for already, right? Like that's the issue. Some of it does look good. I have seen a couple of cosmetics from this stuff that looks great. Anything else you want to say about loot or the content specific stuff, before we break into some of the other stuff? Update 53. Hearing no objections.
I'm good.
Yeah, let's move on.
The anniversary event's back. I don't know. There's a whole lot to say. It doesn't like they changed a few things. I like this. I like the Steel Star fight a little more, but it's not like it's challenging, so it doesn't. I mean, functionally, it doesn't feel like it's changing a whole lot. It just looks a little different.
Oh man, he wrecks me. He's got some lightning attack that is just devastating.
Oh, yeah. Here's my biggest thing about the anniversary event. I am upset that the hardcore season 4 vendor was not added with the other 3 seasons of hardcore in there. You guys even know what I'm talking about.
Nope.
There's a spot on the upper level. It's kind of by the bathroom door, where the first 3 season hardcore season vendors, Eritricos, Mortality, and whatever the Archon was, are hanging out up there, and they're basically comparing how well their hardcore season went on like how many souls they collected. I think Mortality even gives the Archon some grief over like you gave them extra chances, kind of a thing.
Okay.
That's right outside the door to Lichabel, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the season 4 vendor's not there, and I am so disappointed. That's the most I have to say about the event itself. The cloak cosmetics seem fine. I'm a little disappointed that there's not like a more useful anniversary thing this year, but I'm not heartbroken about it. I do like that they put the sentient Trigon gem in the loot list. That's, I think, a great add. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
the old house cloaks that came out with the 13th anniversary, those are available again. That's really cool that they brought that stuff back and make it available again.
Yeah. Does anyone else feel like they need a new, like keep that event, but like add another dungeon or 3 to it, kind of like Night Revels? Is that just me?
No. I haven't done the event this year at all, mostly because of the bajillions of times I've had to do it over and
Right.
over and over again in previous years. So, I pretty much have whatever I want. I'm not really big in cosmetics, so there's really nothing there for me. It's why I had no clue what you were talking about regarding the previous hardcore vendors because I haven't been in it.
You should
But
go in
but
just
it
to
would be
see
nice.
them.
It would be nice if they had something different about them, like a different dungeon or a different challenge of some sort. Yeah, that maybe I would do it the event just to see that. But I I feel no urge to do the event.
I've actually done the event more times this year than I have in probably any previous year, just trying to help my
Yeah.
guildies get some favors and stuff. So I'm fine with it being what it is. I do like the fact that they add new dungeons to Night Rebels, but in terms of the anniversary party, I'm just fine. In fact, I would love for them to even increase the XP for it. The repeating XP
Yeah.
to make it a little bit more competitive in terms of XP per minute.
I just feel like you end up, because you only get like 12 at most, right?
12 party favors. Yep, that's the
Yeah.
max you can get.
And a lot of these take like 8, 100. The dragon, I think the sentient gems take like 250. That's a lot of runs of the same challenge over and over. Well, I will say, if you're doing Slayers for XP, pick up a party one of those little party things. I got like 70 some odd favors from doing Slayers in an hour. I think you can certainly get more faster if you're just powering through that dungeon thing, but it's not the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not like it's the the snow slide. Like we only really had the first year, we only had like the one thing, but it was so. Let's just say it was really easy to run that while also watching football. So maybe they just need to release the anniversary dungeon when there's still football. I don't know. Like, it just feels a little boring to me.
That would take some of the pain away for sure.
Yeah, right. Whereas like Night Revels, right? There's 9 quests, so you have a little you have some more variety. That's just kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah, you definitely have options there for sure.
Yeah. All right, a couple small things. The one I just kind of give shout outs for and maybe quick thoughts on. I've enjoyed the feedback for failing a concentration check. I don't know if you're shaking your head, Arkat. Have you not seen this?
No, and I don't think I've ever. Well, I don't play a lot of casters,
Right.
so maybe I wouldn't see that. But what is it? Well, hang on. I was playing caster today when we were doing the raids, and I did see some big giant letters. Something
spell fail or something like that.
Spell failed. Yeah,
that's
I saw
it.
that.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yep, that's
okay.
it.
I couldn't figure out what the hell that was.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's telling you that you tried to cast a spell and it failed because you got hit.
Okay, well, yeah, neat. I mean, it's at least you know that you need to work on your concentration a little bit.
Voodu, you play casters more than I think either of us do, and you have a tendency to play castery tanks. Have you found that feedback to be helpful?
Yeah, I like that it's there.
Collectible turn-ins for Sands items, the Wilderness Sands items. I like that. Voodu, last couple times you've been on, you've given a shout out to SSG for making it easy to get an epic Ring of Spell Storing now. It feels like it's even easier if that was possible.
And I just made a video, like a 5-minute video that explains, like, just in case anybody's been living in a cave, like, basically there's a vending machine in Zawabi's Refuge now where you put a couple quarters in, it spits out Rings of Spell Storing, and you take it over and it costs a couple more quarters to upgrade it to epic and a couple more quarters to upgrade. Like, it's so easy to have like an epic and legendary Ring of Spell Storing now. Like, it used to be, epic Ring of Spell Storing was literally one of the rarest items in the game, and now it's just like they're passing out like Halloween candy, which is really awesome. And I give props to SSG for making it so easy to get. I mean, it's incredible. The legendary version has 5 charges of major mnemonic aid. The epic version has 3 charges. That's 8 charges, like 8 major mana pots per rest. And if you do not own an epic and legendary Ring of Spell Storing and you play casters, well, you should, and you can have them both in your inventory.
Because they're not exclusive. I mean, the 2 legendary. If you couldn't have 2 legendaries, right? Because then they would be exclusive.
Right. You can have an epic and legendary.
Nice.
They're quote exclusive, but because the legendary, epic, and heroic are all different items, you can have one of each.
Well, too bad I don't play a lot of casters.
It's never been as good a time to be one, and I'm starting to rethink my 15 years of hoarding mnemonic potions for when I need them. So, but yeah, it's nice. I agree, it's great. There's also new vendors for augments, specifically the new augments as well. So I love that. I haven't really utilized them yet, but
I have.
It's
Oh
great.
yeah, I'm big for augments and getting that
Yeah.
extra 10, the extra 10 melee power or range power, or the accuracy, so I don't have to use that damn legendary ring of prowess, you know, all sorts of stuff that those augments really open up as far as gear choices are concerned. They really, really help out a lot, and I just laugh my butt off when I see, these augments plus 10 range power, topaz of range power in the auction house, the shard auction house for like 4,000 shards. I'm like, you idiot, you
I
idiot! You
mean,
don't even know that you can get these for almost nothing now.
And they're hoping the person that buys that doesn't know that either.
say I
Well,
don't know if the
yeah.
person who's selling it is the idiot here. The buying, okay, sure, um, but yeah.
Somebody said to me recently that they didn't really use augments, and augments are a great, great, great way
Hmm.
to round out your gear set. And after the whole balance pass and with the augment pass and stuff, the rescaling, like augments are in a really, really, really competitive place right now. You can really fill in a lot of gaps and round out your gear set with augments. So if you're not into augments, they're great, and there's more than ever available just for like doodads and thingamathings and whoozy what's it's that you can trade for lots of augments right in the game.
I think in general, like loot as a whole is in one of the best places balance wise it's been ever. Right, like there's so many options and stuff. On the downside, there's so many options. Like I haven't redone my rogues gear since Ravenloft. Um, Partly because I wasn't paying attention to him for a while, and then they did their loot pass. It's like, oh, his gear is really competitive still, and like, I mean, I guess I could do a whole bunch of work to change his gear and make it really high end, but it's like 95% of the way there, and this is just not necessary to do. So I haven't. I'm expecting also to have to go through when Altrade comes out to like re-gear characters. So I'm really hesitant to do that right now because I know it's coming. So this is the problem with having a lot of characters, right, Arcot?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. I've redone my gear on all 21 of my level 30 tombs, and that's a lot of farming. And I tell you, I am not. It, Isle of Dread, I have mixed feelings about, and the level cap raise. Dinosaurs, yay, cool. I want to see those. I want to get a dinosaur mount, but I am just not looking forward to redoing rate loot on a whole bunch of tunes. So I don't know what I'm going to do, PJ. I mean, I'm thinking about several possibilities. One is to stop playing, or at least not doing anything above level 30. Another option is just starting to play just a very, very few select tunes, like maybe three or four kind of thing. And so I really don't know what I want to do. It's going to it's a daunting thing to think about.
Well, don't worry, you're not going to have to change your level 30 gear set because you're going to have a level 32 gear set.
I a while back all right, I'm just gonna play three characters, focus on three characters. Within 2 months I was back up to 6, and a month later I was up to 7 again. Too hard to focus that much. But I started doing a thing where like I mean down to 7 characters that I'm gonna try to maintain, and it's really kind of gotten into a okay, you know, focus on this one, takes however long it takes, and when their gear gets updated, it gets updated, right? Not generally, I'm not taking all 7 of them into like R10 rating or anything like that, so I don't need the bestest gear.
Well, I'm enthusiastic for Isle of Dread. In fact, I think I'm more enthusiastic for Isle of Dread than I've ever been since perhaps
Yeah.
like Menace of the Underdark, our first ever expansion. I mean, when I saw that mini movie that showed Loth, I was just like, I crapped my pants when I saw that, and I was so excited. But short, I think that's the most excited I've been since that moment in DDO for an expansion. Isle of Dread, obviously, very, very, very famous module. Can't wait to see it come to life and far as level cap increase, bring it on. I can't wait for legendary reincarnation.
Oof. Because that's what we need. Another 40 lives to get.
Yep. Bring it on. What else are we going to do?
I don't know yet.
You can play
do-
21 characters and do a lot of farming.
Yeah, you play the game the way you want to play it, Arkat. So don't stress about what you think you're supposed to do. Just do what you want to do. Have fun, man. That's one of the most important things we emphasize on my channel is don't forget to have fun. So you know what? If you don't want to play Isle of Dread or you don't want to redo your gear set, don't. It's okay, man. Just have fun. Check out what you got to do occasionally is you just got to pull your gamer compass, which is located out in your heart. You just got to pull it out, make sure it's pointed to fun. Okay? As long as you're having fun, you're all right. If you're not having fun, just make a course correction. You're paying to play the game the way you want to play it. Don't forget to have fun.
Let's see. There's also a couple UI options. I just want to kind of throw out there really quick. So they had the filigree descriptions and uncompleted sets. You can turn those on and off. So if you want to condense your item descriptions, kind of feels weird to me. But hey, if you don't want to look at all that stuff, that's great. I like being able to see all the stuff that's on there. And the examine window, being able to scroll up and down with the examine window makes it so much easier than it used to be. And then prevent heal soft target, which toggle forces your healing spells to use your hard target or self target and not your soft target. I find that really helpful when I'm like fighting undead.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really notice it that much, so it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, it seems to me a lot of people are using mass heals, and you're not really doing the single heal type thing, unless you just resed them or something.
I like this, so I'm going to read it. Toggytrog in our chat says, I want a tabaxi driver and a clicky that hails them to ride around on a yellow dinosaur.
A tabaxi driver, nice.
That was pretty good. All right, last two more things to kind of briefly talk about. Well, maybe one not so briefly. The delete all mail button. Yay. Been nice.
I just have a feeling that's really useful for people that have businesses on the side in DDO, where they get either they mail a lot of stuff or they store a lot of stuff in their boxes, or they people mail them a lot of stuff. I couldn't care less, frankly.
I find it very helpful having been power leveling, and you get a lot of mail for favor rewards and stuff. That
I can see that.
Yeah. Nice mass heal there, Voodoo.
Thank you. You knew what I was doing. We were making fun of that on the DDO stream earlier.
Yeah. And then game performance. So they did some work on game performance. Specifically called it out in the chat. Boy howdy, the first couple days were pretty rough. It felt like whatever they did took a couple steps backwards, not forwards. Seems to be in a pretty good spot again now. Not sure if you have the same experience as I'm having here.
No, I'll be honest. I I don't play as much as I used to, so
Sure.
It's possible that I just missed a couple of days of the lag and just happened to log in when it was fixed. Sorry.
Well, I play this game like it's my job, and I don't know. It just seems like another day at the office. I am very enthusiastic that the TR cache is now pretty damn fast. I mean, hell yeah, love that.
It's like what, 5 times faster?
Oh man,
it's
great.
Yeah, it's very great. All right. That'll pretty much all I want. Anything else you guys want to talk about update 53, or are you ready to give kind of big picture Grady thoughts?
No, I'm done talking about it. We can give grades.
As an aside, I would like to say that I would like to see. I don't know if this happened. I would like to see Tolero make a post that's like, we're looking for input on what you'd like to see. How you'd like to see the VIP bundle, increased. Or did that already happen? I feel like she said that. I don't know if that's happened yet, but I definitely want some VIP boostage. And I know that's been conversation recently.
Yeah, she mentioned something about that they're looking into ways of making the VIP thing more relevant, but she hasn't asked for a lot of input from the players on how to do that. I suspect that the players council is giving input on that, but I really don't know because the SGE is not the most communication transparent organization out there, so I have no idea.
The Tortolero did in a couple different places, a couple interviews that she was doing, mention that she was open to feedback from players on what they want the VIP experience to look like. I have not seen any effort to capture that or any system to capture that or like a forum post. I think you're right. Like Tolero posting on the forums, like, hey, what would you like to see in a VIP thing? I mean, I sent a couple of things to Jerry because I have a relationship with Jerry because he's on the show. Or just like some stuff to throw out. But I haven't seen like an actual an inbox, an idea box, suggestion box, if you will, that's any sense of formal. All right, Arkat, you want to kick us off with grade for update 53?
I'll give it a solid C. Nothing really stands out, but nothing really sucks either. Maybe C minus. C minus because the length of the Tully Wood um, quest. So yeah, C minus.
Voodu?
I'm gonna go B minus. B is above average. I'm gonna go B minus. I feel like I'm a tough grader too, but look at me, a whole letter grade above Arcat.
I think I'm gonna land in C as a C.
No way.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm landing, and I'm gonna try to make a weird distinction here. I think the work that was done was solid and good. It just like Tully Wood's design doesn't really land well with me. The raid design doesn't really land well with me. I don't think they were done poorly. I just don't like them. So
For me, it's a function of quantity is a big part of that letter grade.
sure.
But I think something happened today. It's only happened once before in the history, and this is my 94th time, 94th episode of DDOCast that I'm gonna be in right now. Only one other time has it ever happened that I've given the highest letter grade.
You know which one
It
it was?
happened for Saltmarsh, and now it's happening again. Wow. Usually I give the toughest grade, and yeah, I
I don't
must
even
be
know what I
slipping.
gave the grade for Salt
When I
Marsh.
redo it,
Getting
I'm giving it a
soft.
D. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sticking with B minus.
That's fair. Eh. We should something we didn't mention or talk about too. With you talking about the raid, there is kind of a weirdness here where they're designing a raid for growth, right? Like we're gonna have a level cap increase soon. So it'll be interesting to see after the level cap increase. Do people's opinion of this raid change? You know,
As far as what the overtunement of it is
yeah,
concerned.
that in particular, right? So, um,
Well, I'll be still stuck at 30, so it'll still be the same for me.
I'm sure you'll get to 32, if by accident, if nothing else. In any case, we'll close out the show here. Voodu, why don't you plug your videos, your channels, your streams, all that fun stuff?
Hey, you can find me live streaming nearly every day on Twitch. Weekdays, I do a morning show that we call Good Morning Coffee and Chat, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on YouTube, also channel Voodoo Spice, where you can find over 1,000 DDO videos, quest walkthroughs, raid guides, crafting tutorials, and so much more. And every Saturday on the DDO stream, where we do a late morning coffee and chat, followed by teaching raids for new players. Hell yeah.
Arkat, anything you want to give a shout out for?
No, I neither stream nor do podcasts except for this one. So I guess if you want to see me on Kyber, you can try to catch me when I'm playing, which is very rare, but I'll talk to you. Oh, somebody did send me a PM on the DDO forums and was asking me some questions, and I responded back almost immediately. So if you want to ask me something, I'll reply back.
There you go. Arkat's a fun guy to talk with. We talk about all sorts of stuff, and I always find the conversations with him very engaging and thought provoking. So, been fun. Let's see. So, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for the folks in the chat that are having fun throwing croaking frogs in the chat. All of a sudden, that kind of came out of nowhere. Thanks to
That's my emote.
Sure. Thanks to Arkat and Voodu for joining us today. And thanks to all the folks who contribute to DDOCast, and to Standing Stone Games, Woods of the Coast, and to Cybears for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website at DDOcast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage, or you Twitch DDO and like to be featured on our website, you can email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff, including some DDO and D&D tabletop. If you have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, leave us a comment or email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about Update 53. If I get enough people throwing grades out, I'll even do an average. That'd be kind of fun. You can also find us on the social media for latest cast updates. At DDOcast on Twitter is the best place to find us. So until next time, all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate. Have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.